allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
One board member absent, Mr. Snyder, principal, Superintendent Winter.
A motion for adoption of the agenda. Additions, subtractions, corrections.
And then that was sent out to the board earlier in the day and it's posted on our website.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Moving on to communications recognition, open forum, and board committees. First would be open forum.
And reply.
That came up with a response. One letter was sent. Transportation.
We just met about sending out an RFP for the upcoming contract for transportation. So it went out and is due
29th, Thursday.
this Thursday for anybody interested.
On to wellness. We met a week ago. We got updates from food service. Some interesting things I wrote down. We're serving 300 for breakfast these days.
That's district-wide? Elementary? Okay.
More in the elementary. Weight room, we're 150 to 160 students are using that on a weekly basis. They've got a kind of a growing off-season training, speed work, 30 kids, I think, 7 to 12. Those are kids that are not actually in a sport during that time, but they're coming for off-season training. We got an update on the bike fleet, and we're now going to have separate fleets. We've been sharing a bike fleet with Albany, and now they're going to have separate bikes. And I think we were looking for the bigger bikes, and they were looking for smaller elementary school. So it seemed to make sense to kind of, and there was funding to get both. So, and then food for thought. Just some numbers if people are curious. Melrose Elementary, 115 bags a week. Middle and high school, 25 per week. ALC, 15. St. Mary's, 8. And they are, Albany District is starting a program, and we are for 1 year kind of helping them, and they are at 60. Is there anything else I missed?
Bike path, walking path, construction is up for this spring. Shelby shared that they've been putting complementary care items in the ladies' bathrooms, and that's been going really well. It's really nice of us.
And that's the bike path that goes on daylight on the. I think they were doing locates on it today when I walked by there. Yeah, it'll go up to daylight. And then come all the way to our walking path and parallel the weed line and just intersect right into our walking path that goes over the bridge.
Could you speak a little louder so everyone can hear?
Okay.
There's many people in here, it's hard to hear.
Yeah, I can speak loud. I'm sorry.
And then we maintain the path.
Yep. The city through a grant will install a concrete walking path 10 feet wide. And our charge as the school district was to maintain it and snow removal and those type of things. So it'll create a safe walking path along that county highway for people going back and forth. And that's usually a highway that I take going back and forth, and I just happen to notice a lot of people walking along there lately. Of course, the weather's nice. So it'll be nice to have a walking path that will start in daylight before we come across.
Next is staff development.
You should
Elementary,
probably put the microphone closer to you. Your voice isn't like Craig's.
the elementary met and so did the middle school, high school, working on the March in-service. Elementary for sure was gonna have Mr. Anderson do some training for testing days, MCA training for teachers and paras. They're already working on a speaker, a motivational speaker for next year. We also talked about the halftime instructional coach. We have talked about that before, whether that's something we're gonna do or not. Still working on that, meeting with Greg on that to just figure out how they can do that. Also, going to have a speaker on suicide prevention, not sure if it'll be this year or next year. Paras are still working on, in the elementary, on the Help for Billy book. They will also do the MCA testing training. Elementary is working on reviewing report cards. I think that's about it for both.
West Central Ed.
We just kind of redid for the beginning of the year, went through officers and that kind of thing. Didn't really have anything else going on. They said everything is going well over at the West Central Ed. Otherwise, not a whole lot.
Ms. Uphoff maintains the chair of that board.
Yeah. Yep. By default.
Health and safety.
So we went through the student injuries, activity injuries, nothing, alarming or critical. We talked about the water, fire alarm, whatever you want, the water sprinkler system, thank you. In the kitchen, those sprinkler heads are going to be replaced. Sounded like the temperature. Anyway, they're gonna get upgraded. But everything was fine, no injuries, lunch went on. The only one thing that came up from that is the kids were outside like a half an hour or so. So some of the younger kids were a little bit chilly, so they talked about possibly getting those silver runner blankets. I don't know what they're called, but if we could get those for in the future, they could just be stored in the classroom. So that was noted. And maybe you can speak on, I wasn't exactly sure what sort of training Misty felt. Was she trained in?
Well, she's gonna go to the group that comes to a school district when they need extra crisis team. As we had the crisis team come to our school on the death of an employee, resource training offers this service to districts that need it. And Jennifer Neefeld is gonna be trained to be on that crisis committee team to go to a school district when they have an extra need for support staff, should a tragic event happen in that district. Sure, her and Willow will go.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Mr. Swartz gave us a document about recommended class size for CTE classes.
What was the recommendation?
Less than we have.
How much?
Well, I mean,
It was just some benchmark documents,
Yeah,
just so. what CTE recommends for class sizes because of activities that are going on within the class.
So based on, too, like if it's a woods class, if it's not, or if it's ag, or what it is, what they're doing, so. It was just published recently, so we shared it.
Like to be far exceeded?
Well, it's on a class to class basis, so I think some more probably I don't know, like Mr. Decker can.
Four, I think,
Give
was
you
one of the
more.
numbers that was mentioned. Higher in some spots, but some courses were lower than that, just depends year to year.
Can those situations be offset with pairs?
I think some of it is.
Some of the, I think there are times when we should have a pair, maybe more in there, just based on how many special ed students we have, and that was something that was brought up too. Sure. So, just from the state. So it was good to point it out.
Yeah, square footage is an issue too. Room to work and walk around.
I don't think it was a recommendation optimal to supervision of students. It was a recommendation optimal to education of students.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't want to confuse that with that class size thing that we kind of dealt with. So theirs was more a recommendation on what's the best number to educate the number of
It
students.
wasn't a rule, it was a hard rule. It was a recommendation.
Sure.
Worth looking at and reviewing.
There was some comment about the activities, injuries of dance with
Oh, yeah.
floors that we're using.
The dance team practices on concrete. And I always have, but it sounds like there's definitely more girls, I think, involved than some shooters, so. But we don't have a lot of options at this point. Forgiving floor.
PTA?
Most of the talk at PTA was about the fundraiser. The kickoff is March 25th through April 22nd. Jan Kvistad pretty much handles all the organization for that. They've had really good donations. And at the end, they reach their goal. There's prizes for each classroom, that kind of thing. And then at May 13th, they're having a guest author as a reward for all the work for the fundraiser. We had a short clip on him. He looks very motivational, and it's going to be fun. I think the kids will enjoy him. And then May 6th through the 17th is roller skating. I don't think we were invited, but they just no, they do have open nights and whatever, so the kids were looking forward to that. And that was about it.
Technology. Okay.
Technology. So now they're talking about a state computer science degree, right? Not sure who's teaching it, but giving even to get the degrees. Minnesota is now the lowest in the nation in computer science programming. Wonderful. So middle school is talking about doing some curriculum with robotics and coding, et cetera, that might help with kind of reaching those goals or helping with the goals. Technology has now gone, that Smiths is closed out Arvig. They signed a contract with Arvig to provide our technology. Steve was working on the equity aid applications along with Stephanie to get money through that. He's been to a couple conferences on cybersecurity. Another thing they brought up at some of his workshops was AI, whether there should be policies in the handbooks, you need to have conversations, and administration is already doing that. So that was, I think, all. Can't think of anything else.
So is computer science being added as a standard, or what? What do you mean?
It's a alarm that's gone off at the state level that we don't have enough computer science programmers. This was something that we saw at MSBA, and this is something that Mr. Schultzenberg at his committee meetings is going through. They've kind of picked up on this bellwether concern, and we do offer some within our program, but as Ms. Uphoff kind of alluded to, it's nice to have, but where are you going to find the teachers for it? And where are you going to find the time and in the day to do those kind of things. So I think it's something it's worth noting that there's a concern out there with. We'll see how much more the concern lasts in terms of how much money they put into the program.
I thought they were talking about a 2027 graduate requirement that you have a computer science.
Find the teacher for it. I think it's kind of wishful thinking at this time, but.
So you're saying it's not state mandated?
Not yet, no, there's no mandates out there, no.
What kind of training do the teachers need? Is there a formal certificate in Minnesota for that?
I think you can go to college and get a degree in computer programming. That certainly is it's a pretty fluid degree, but I think the state is hoping that you're gonna take existing staff, send them back, get them training, come back and offer it at some level to the students.
Is there a formal certification? Is there a formal, I can teach this kind of thing that you need to get?
I think it's gonna be pretty wide open for a couple of years.
So the answer is no, there isn't a. Any questions regarding the committee reports? Moving on to administrative reports, Mr. Duckett.
Yes, good evening all. First semester MTSS data, I put down some numbers and some data there for you. I think regarding grades and referrals, it's most improved in every area versus the data collected from the previous year. That's just a snapshot of some of the data. Snow days week appeared to go really well. I think around 100 enjoyed the dance last Friday evening. I think that was probably numbers that were a little low, but it was also an extended weekend, and I think because of that, I think the numbers just people were out of town. So, but those that were there seemed to have a good time. We've got a tentative date for a mock crash activity for the high school, May 1st. That's the week leading up to prom, scheduled for the 4th of May. Coordinating with NHS, our school resource officer, our local law enforcement, ambulance corps, et cetera, regarding that. I think the last time we did that was right prior to COVID. So it's about time. We've talked and we've tried to do that about once every 4 years. It's kind of what we try to do somewhere in that area. So we're going to try to get that done this year again. And then our Germans left from Buhl left this morning for school. So, and from everything that I've heard, the stay was really enjoyable for them and for the host families that hosted them. Just a really positive experience, I think, for all.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes, good evening. Middle school just had their second quarter incentive day. Students got to choose between Andes. About 100 students went skiing. Weather was gorgeous. I go with the students down there. And then about 150 students went to Air Max, and then they went to a movie. We had two groups that switched throughout the day. So one group started at the movie, one group started at Air Max, and then they swapped. Air Max and the theater and SOC work well with us, so it's a good event. Kids enjoyed it. Middle School Student Council is sponsoring a school dance and activity night on 3/27 from 6 to 8. So kids are looking forward to that. They're planning some events. And then this month has been Be Kind month. They're sponsoring a Being Kind activity. Kids are given a little slip. They can turn it in. And then we draw for prizes at the end of the month. So some activities going on in middle school. Testing season's here. Next week, juniors will be taking the ACT, the juniors that have signed up for it. Access for EL testing has started. Just so you're a little aware, our EL staff, this is a huge undertaking for them this year. This is double the amount of students that we tested last year. And it's not just one test, it's 4 different tests for every EL student. So it's a significant undertaking and a lot more work. And MCAs, again, just reminding, will start early April. Some activities, I just want to acknowledge Mr. Meyer being section coach of the year, having a phenomenal weekend with his swim team. I heard today that we have a boy that is in every event between Sauk Center and Melrose, which is awesome.
At the state meet?
At the state meet,
Everyone.
in every event.
That's fantastic.
Yep. And then, we do have state wrestling this weekend. We had 2 boys qualify and 1 girl. So it's a big weekend for activities. Our girl is seeded number 1 going into the state tournament. We're excited about that.
Very cool. Nice.
Curious, how many juniors are taking the ACT?
This year I have 74 signed up.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes, good evening. The elementary is finishing up this week, their I Love to Read month. We've been working on One School, One Book, and so our final activity will be a movie for the family Thursday night in the auditorium for those that want to join in. We are planning our parent-teacher conferences for Friday, March 15th. And our kindergarten roundup invites will be mailed out tomorrow. And our date is April 5th. So we're looking forward to welcoming the class of 2037 into the building very soon.
We need to have a warning before you just say that.
Yeah. They take about as many pictures on that day as they do on graduation day. And we have applied for 2 Minnesota Reading Corps tutors again and a math tutor. So we're optimistic that hopefully we will get those because we've had those in the past. We're hoping that current tutors might stay. I think our 2 Reading Corps tutors will. Our math tutor, she loves it. She's getting great results. That just depends on if she does something else in her career and stuff. She's really enjoying teaching, so she might consider to get her degree in teaching because she's really enjoying it. And then I did share that little link. I don't know if you guys had time to look at the news link. You will see that Ms. Stoltenberg, I really give her the credit. She selects 2 4th graders or 5th graders to do the weekly news. She writes up the little script for them. They, of course, read the script, and so it's a one-time record, and that's what you get. And they do a really good job. You saw a glimpse of it that we had it in English and Spanish, so a student is able to share the news in Spanish completely. So they're doing a great job being able to sometimes even read it in English and translate it into Spanish as they're talking. So our kids are really doing a great job. And then it's fun, we highlight other things too, things that are happening, snow days or our pictures that we've taken, we end with that, but you saw our PBIS spotlights are always at the end. The kids love seeing when they go in the news that they've been caught doing great behaviors and expectations in the school. So that's been a highlight this year. That's something new that PBIS added. And Ms. Stolzenberg is the one that is giving up her time to get that done every week, and we appreciate that. And then we, on behalf of all the administrators, and staff, we just would like you to thank all of you for School Board Appreciation Month. We just appreciate all your commitment to the district and how you are committed to serve our students. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Winter?
This week, the osprey nest issue will be taken care of so that everybody's aware. I've been working with the DNR. I have acquired all the needed permits, working with the lighting manufacturer, how not only to move the nest to a new pedestal and nesting area to the northeast. There was a design put in for over our lights to keep the ospreys from nesting in our lights. For those not aware of it, we have had an osprey that have nested by the light, right by our grandstand, right by the concession stand. And they certainly make a mess, sticks, twigs, carcasses, chasing the superintendent out of there when he's out there all by himself because they know he's the one that's going to move them out of there. So that'll start probably this Thursday. I think they were kind of thinking about doing Wednesday, but because of the weather, they're probably going to do it on Thursday. So make sure everybody's aware of it. I've been working with the DNR and have acquired all the needed permits. We're not doing it on our own. The legislative session.
Did they have to actually put up a pole?
Yes.
Put a platform on top of the pole?
It will be put up on Thursday. And what parts of the nest they can move, they're going to move it and put it on top of that platform.
So realistically, what are the chances that animals actually going to go to that?
It's a pretty good.
Very good, yeah, I think so.
They like the hunting area here because of its proximity to the river, and they'll be able to smell and see their nest. It'll be about 250 yards to the northeast.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Don't mean to be the skeptic, but no, we're good.
Pretty early in the legislative session, there's a lot of clarification, a bunch of carryover from the last session. They are continuing to work on the school resource officer bill. If everybody remembers, that came pretty controversial last year because of some of the very vague language they had in it. School districts like ours continued to move forward last year with the Attorney General stating his interpretation of it. However, there are many other law enforcement agencies that want more clarity in the language. This was something they said they were going to deal with and take care of right away. 2 weeks into it, they don't have a plan yet. So I'm hoping that comes soon. Another item of note that's popped up in the early part of the session, I think there's 11 schools that have a 4-day week. And they got the ear of a couple legislators, and they're having those discussions on the Education Policy Committee. The discussion that they're having is allowing school districts on their own to determine if they go to a 4-day week, not with Minnesota Department of Education approval. And my hope is that they open that up, that they would also open up school districts to have more flexibility on the school calendar. So we'll see what happens. 15-minute lunches and stuff like that.
Any questions for any of the administrators? Moving on to non-action items. None. Item 9, consent agenda. A motion to approve the consent agenda as listed. So moved. A second?
I'll second it.
Highlights that you want to show us?
Yeah, a number of hiring, some additional paras, some summer help. We see a transition in one of our head coaching positions. Pat Schott has resigned from that position. Cooper Gert, who has stepped in to take over to help out our EL population, is going to have the head boys golf coaching position this year. Hiring some paras, and with the addendum, Paula Ruoff had turned in a letter of resignation. She's going to be working with West Central Ed as their birth to 3 person, and we've been able to find a person to step in for her. We just were aware of that last week. That's why it's on the addendum. So Paula Ruoff will be moving over to West Central Ed, and she'll stick around for a week to help mentor Michaela Moritz here as our early childhood specialist staff member.
Comments or questions for anybody regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Item 10, treasurer's report. A motion to approve the treasurer's report. A second.
Second.
Yes, revenues and expenses are just in line. There's nothing out of the ordinary, and we're following the same trends we had last year. So everything's good.
Any questions or comments regarding the treasurer's report? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the treasurer's report, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Moving on to action items. Item A, motion to accept, approve gifts and donations as listed.
So moved.
And second.
Second.
Oh, some nice donations for the prom and for the bus for the choir Ordway trip. And then I believe Sauk Center Conservation Club donated that money unsolicited.
I'm sorry, what?
The Sauk Center Conservation Club, they just stepped forward and gave you a check for archery, didn't they?
Yeah, we worked with It just kind of came out of the blue, like I think they do donations and they just donate to local, groups that are supporting sportsmen, outdoor sportsman stuff, with you.
Thanks, Jack. Nice donation.
Yeah, very nice. Roll call vote?
Pat,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Becky, yes. Motion carries.
Item B would be a motion to approve the 2024-2025 school calendar.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Had this out there, have had the draft on our website, solicited input from our groups within our district. They've given us some input. Actually, one staff member found out I counted wrong in March. That's why the calendar changed a little bit to where we don't have school on that Friday. As I talked about before, the other big change was we usually have that first Friday off in December for the Defender Wrestling Invitational. That moved to the 27th. So that Wednesday before Thanksgiving break will be the Defender Invitational. And that's kind of the basic calendar that we've had in the past. It starts unfortunately after Labor Day.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Item C would be a motion to approve the revised 2023-2024 budget.
I so moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
The budget was revised just to bring numbers from the projections in June to more current numbers. Both revenues and expenditures increased, but in line with each other, so there's really no major changes to the budget.
No surprises.
No surprises. Yay.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay. One of the things I forgot in my report, and I know it was reiterated by many of our administrators, but for those that do not know it, this is School Board Appreciation Month. For those that are here tonight and heard all the committee reports and all the things that the board does, not only meetings in the morning, meetings at night. You've had people up here that are not doing the job for the money, because it's not much money. You see in January, they determine how much to pay. They're not paid a whole lot of money. They're doing it for the sole purpose of serving those students that are in our audience today. So I want to personally thank the board for all the hard work that they do and for all their resources that they give to me to work with my administration to provide a high quality education to our students. So thank you very much, school board members, for all that you guys do on an annual basis.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Then the next step would be motion to close the meeting for the purpose of negotiations. Discuss negotiations, which is pursuant to Minnesota statute 13B, period 03. So move. And a second.
Second.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We'll do a 5-minute.
Students can leave.